Welcome, y'all. I've just been out here piddling in the garden, and I thought you all might enjoy just hanging out with me for a little while. So let's see what we can get into. Y'all, my name's Loanna, and this is a little bit of homestead. On the arched cattle panel trellis, I have planted two different varieties of pole beans. And on this trellis, I have also planted two different varieties of pole beans. So I have a total of 4 different varieties of pole beans, and maybe we'll see what our favorite is. But my goal for this year is to grow all of our own green beans that we would eat in a year. In the past, I've always bought them, and we'll see. I'm also going to probably along this row here plant some bush beans as well. I've mainly only grown bush beans, and I can tuck them around different places in the garden. They're pretty compact, and that's the plan. So we'll see how that goes. So in case some of y'all don't know what piddling is a southern thing. You can call me and say, "What are you doing?" I'll say, "Just piddling." And that means I'm just doing things. It's kind of like maybe putzing. I don't know how to explain it. It's just doing a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing. And I do that a lot. So this thing decided to plant itself out here in the middle of nowhere. So what I'm going to do is, I have a piece of rebar that I let help me dig my holes. And I have this old tiki torch. Now if I can find my hole. Oh, there it is. Didn't need that anyway. When I get in the garden, the dogs went in here too. So that should keep it from blowing over. So I'm going to tie it up. Now let's see if I can find my scissors. I don't throw away stuff like this if I think I can use it in my garden some way. I'm going to cut some twine. I already tied it to this thing, but I'm moving that. And part of the reason is I planted a tomato next to this sunflower, and there's something that the sunflowers put off that sometimes things don't grow well around them. I don't know if it robs all the nutrition. I don't know, but that tomato died. So I'm going to replant it a little bit further away and see how that goes. So I'm just going to tie to this pole. That way, if we get any winds, it won't blow over. And that's probably good enough. Look at these big old pretty beans. Oops. So I'm going to plant probably about 8 all around this, and hopefully we'll get 3. This is at the base of that sunflower. These are a runner bean that I got from Baker's Creek, I think in 2014. So that's why I'm going to plant so many, hoping to at least get 3. I may not get any, but we'll see. Now the goal is for this to grow up the sunflower. I'm mainly doing this just because it's pretty. It's real decorative and colorful. It should have a real pretty red bloom all over it. I saw them recommend doing this on the Epic Gardener, and I thought, hey, I think I have some of those. So we'll see. At the fence in the back of the garden, I am going to plant some sunflower seeds. I have this one called a chocolat. Don't know what that one's pronounced. And then this is just a giant gray stripe. And let's go plant them. Got all my stuff gathered up. On this back fence in this garden, I like to plant sunflowers in the ground, and I'll plant them in between the pots.
And the fact that they are in the ground and then the tomato plants next to them will be in the pots, it shouldn't affect them at all with the whatever the sunflowers do that inhibit growth for the things around them.
I am going to plant maybe 2 of these and a couple of these in the same spot, because these will get really, really tall, hopefully, and then these will have flowers a little lower. I think that'll be pretty, so let's do it. These are a couple years old, so we're going to plant heavy. Plus, it seems like the birds may try to get to them. I don't want to just be feeding the birds. Like I said, I'm just going to plant quite a few in here. And we will come in and trim away. Ew, slug. If a bunch of them come up.
Which I don't expect them to, but I'll just trim them down to what will fit in this spot.
The soil's pretty wet. And then I'm just going to gently cover them up with that softer soil. And I'll water those real good before I cover them up with the mulch.
I'm excited to see these. It should be gorgeous. Now, one more little task, and then we will get to planting the sweet potatoes.
So this thing behind me is Comfrey, and Comfrey is a powerhouse in the garden. Not only is it good medicinally, which we'll address that another day, but it gets a really long taproot and it pulls nutrients from deep into the soil and it stores it in its leaves. So it's a great companion to have in the garden. For one thing, it gets these pretty little purple flowers and the bees love it. So I have it just everywhere, and it will reproduce from the roots real easily. This is a variety, I don't remember what it's called, but there are 2 different kinds. Well, there's probably more than that. So when you cut the leaves and just chop it and leave it like a mulch on the ground, those nutrients go back into the soil. That's one of the things that happens with the hay. That's why I cover things with hay. So one of the next piddling jobs is going to be dividing up this comfrey, and we're going to put it all along this fence row to help create a barrier to keep those dogs from digging my mulch out. They drive me crazy when they do that. But anyway, it spreads real easily. I have a lot of it, and that is one of the goals, to put it around the fence. It will not only suppress the dogs, it'll suppress any weeds. It's also a nice little place for the critters to hide. The critters eat slugs and bugs, so they're nice to have around. And the critters I'm interested in keeping around are some frogs, toads, and don't tell my mom, but garter snakes. They're harmless in the garden. They startle me, but they are good to have around. They will eat up a lot of the pests that I don't want eating up my food. So there's one of the little pests. There's the other. See? Let's cut up some of this comfrey, get it in a bucket of water, and get some comfrey tea started. That's tea for the plants, not for me.
I just chop this off at the ground and it will grow back in no time. And then you just chop it up into small pieces into the bucket, smush it down, tamp it down real good. After we cover this with water, we will ferment it real good, and then we can dilute it and water our garden with it. It stinks to high heaven.
Oh, brother. We're going to get this really full, mash it down to where it's really good and under the water, and we're going to cover it up. And my lid has a hole in it, so we will round up another lid. I don't want mosquitoes Looks like the dogs have had that lid. We'll get another lid and we'll check back in on that in a few weeks with a full-on sploot. Bo, hi handsome. Look at that nonsense. That's where I'm going to put all that comfrey because of you.
We're going to get these topped off with some good compost potting mix, organic of course. And I have a full video showing why I've chosen to grow in the pots instead of in the ground. So I will link that at the end and you can go check that out. I grew 140 pounds of sweet potatoes in 2 years.
Okay, let's get a good look at these. I have other videos showing how I started the sweet potato slips. And you can see this one is, ugh. Oh, there's a pretty little green spider. Get in there. Okay, so he is starting to rot. And over the time, I have been just snipping these off, and I put them in water and got them rooted. Now, after they got roots on them, let's pull this over so you can see it. I did a seed roll, and you can see they have a gorgeous root structure. And they did good. So that's, wow. So they already have a really good start from potting them into the seed roll. So in this one I'll do 3 in here because they're nice and stout. And then I'll do 3 in this other one. But this is the same sweet potato. It's the Georgia Jet. And what I'm going to do here is, this little thing is rotten. That's probably about 4 of them. We're going to break it off of the potato. And I'm going to pitch that into the compost. That is probably 3 separate, 2, 3. Okay, so let's see. All of them that were not developing roots in this soil, I went ahead and cut them and put them in water, and I can share those with my friends. But look, that one's nice, good root systems. And these are little, but they would probably do well. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these big pots, and I'm going to put 3 to 4 slips in each one. Last year I just did 3 slips. We'll get to planting those in a minute. I want to show you the other varieties I have. This is the purple variety, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, this one is like a white flesh. It's not my favorite, but I'll probably grow some just because. Now this purple one is, I'm not a huge fan of the purple one, but they're great to have around, I think. We'll plant him. So you can see all of these that are coming off of this one potato are rooted. Let's see, some of these, those could probably do well to go in some water.
Sorry about that. I was moving them around so fast you couldn't see them. So that's why I slowed it down so you could get a look at those roots. I'll put those in some water for my friend.
Let's see what this thing is completely gone. This same potato, I rooted last year's sweet potatoes with that, off of that one purple one. If there's a worm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus I have all of these that we could still start in some water and root. And then this one, I will plant maybe 1 container of these, but these are not my favorite. All right, let's plant some sweet potatoes. I think I'll put 4 in here.
Like I said earlier, I grew about 3 in these pots, and they did really well, and I really don't think I'm pushing it by putting 4 in here, but we'll see. I think it'll be fine. Now I'm planting these about 12 inches apart. Maybe 10 inches apart. And in the smaller pots, I only put 3 plants per pot in those. Now I won't fertilize these until a little ways down the road when the vines get good and formed. If you fertilize them heavy early on, you will end up with a lot of vines and not many sweet potatoes. So we will wait, and I'll probably fertilize with some of that Comfrey tea we made earlier. And I also use a lot of rabbit poo. It is the miracle fertilizer.
Now the sweet potatoes will take 120 days to fully mature. So that gives us till October sometime. And they like it very warm. And this soil is pretty warm, so they should do good. I'm only going to do 1 tub of the purple and 1 tub of the white. I'm going to do 2 tubs of the purple, and I'm not going to do any of the white. Now that I think about it, not a fan. They taste good, but when you peel them, they get kind of brown. You know, like when you peel an apple and they oxidize? It's kind of like that. Okay, now let's get these watered in. So I got the sweet potatoes planted, watered in really well. We will keep these good and watered for the next couple of days and while they get over their transplant shock.
Then I always mulch any of my soil, even in containers. I don't keep soil uncovered. It'll help retain moisture and protect the soil from a lot of rain. And believe it or not, actually the sun is harsh on your soil. So I'm going to leave some videos here for you to check out. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. My name is Loanna, and this is a little bit of homestead, and I'll see you next time.